recession and the consumer is tapping out. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, October. It's close to October, April the 13th. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard. What a wild week we saw on Wall Street. What a wild week we saw everywhere. But the bigger question is the consumer tapping out and are we in a recession? And as you know, if you've listened to me, I say that we've been in a recession for months and that it has not gotten any better. And I don't see that it's going to happen tomorrow. I told you here on these airwaves that it was going to get tougher before it got better. I am a big believer in President Trump's policies. I am a big believer in tariffs, and I'm very happy with what he's doing, but it's not going to come without pain. And I think we're seeing it, the resetting of the loans, the consumer starting to tap out. You can see that from the consumer sentiment reports, from the other reports that we have seen. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that that's a good thing first, because I think it makes you stronger. Okay. I think that, when you look at the bigger picture, you get better when you have to fight for a little bit. And I think you have the people in the press that don't know a thing about real economic opportunity. I mean, this is truly an opportunity. If you've done your due diligence and you've continued to do the right thing and not put yourself in dramatic amount of debt, okay, then you have some opportunity here. Okay. I mean, the trade war, the imbalance, the turbulence. Listen, again, we want to be on the other side of China. Are you happy? Just ask yourself the question, are you happy with your drugs, with your prescription medicine coming from the country that sent you over COVID as a form of chemical warfare? Are you happy with supporting a country that has the worst human rights in the entire world? Again, you can talk about price, and the prices will not be that different. When you look at the bigger picture, be more worried about interest rates going straight up, as if you saw last week, the interest rate market was down to 3.9%, and suddenly now we're back to 4.5%, and I think we're headed on our way to 5%, and then to 6%. That is actually the better market. That is the more representation of the market, because the cartel of the Federal Reserve is nothing but a bunch of criminals anyways. And for those of you who get so excited when you hear that there's going to be a rate cut, that rate cut does not necessarily affect you. I want to remind you that the federal funds rate is the money that banks borrow from the Federal Reserve. They do not have to pass the savings on to you. Okay. Producer price index plunges as we saw gasoline plunge, which is actually, again, a good thing for you, the American citizen. Okay, that will help take care of this ridiculous inflation we've been dealing with. And again, you're going to hear this all along, that the producers can't make enough money. They need $65 a barrel to make money. And I say bullshit. Okay, all you have to do is look at the earnings of the big oil companies, and all they've done is produce record profits. They were producing record profits at $30 a barrel, and their profits at $60 a barrel are ridiculous. So just remember, don't buy into the bullshit of the media. The media is ignorant mothers that have no clue of how true markets really work. They're only trying to rattle your cage to get viewers, to get views on their news station. That is it. Okay. And of course, the DIA reports suggested Biden, Pentagon suppressed COVID-19 origins. Well, again, they didn't suppress them to me. I told you where it came from. It came from China. It was a special gift-wrapped disease. And yeah, maybe China suffered from it as well. But this was just saying we can do this if we want to. That's my opinion. Again, you don't have to agree with me. That's my opinion. Okay. Record egg prices are starting to break. Well, yeah, I was on air on Friday, and they were $9 a dozen in New York. Now again, New York's a little bit more expensive, but think about this. Eggs used to be 39 cents a gallon. Now, isn't it amazing that they blame the bird flu, but only chickens get the bird flu? Geese, ducks, okay, don't get the bird flu. It's kind of interesting. And of course, Finally, the judge sided with the Trump administration on identification rules for illegal immigrants. I mean, you have a bunch of these Democratic states attorneys, okay, and governors trying to sue for illegal immigration, trying to sue to have them not have to show voter ID. I mean, are we fucking morons or what? Again, forget about what you feel about President Trump, forget about what you feel about Republican or Democrat, but should you not have to have voter ID and be a citizen of this country to participate in an election? I mean, I think that's too much to ask. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty basic. Okay. Uh, yeah, these Fed presidents. Now let's remember what the Federal Reserve is. The Federal Reserve is an organization that was created by the banks for the banks to fuck the American people. Okay, let's put it as clear as we can. Jekyll Island, which is where the Fed was begun, was created by, do you ever hear the Rothschild family? Worth $500 trillion. Okay. The Rothschild family, Paul Warburg, the Rockefellers, JP Morgan. Okay. They are the creators of the Federal Reserve, and all they've done since is steal the money, create issues with all of the bullshit and all the things that we watch. And again, whatever you want to think about it, just think about how did somebody create or achieve $500 trillion? Yeah, that is supposedly what the Rothschild family is worth. So again, tariffs are not going to boost inflation. We've accounted for the tariffs by the drop in gasoline. We've accounted for the tariffs by the drop in the dollar. We've accounted for the tariffs with everything else. And again, at the end of the day, the inflation was far out of control long before there was ever tariff talk. Okay. And since President Trump has come into office, crude oil has dropped 35%. That will be a direct correlation to your money and to inflation, because 80% of everything you do, from the lipstick you wear to the water you drink to the car you drive, unless it's an electric car, okay, to the delivery to the store, lower oil and energy prices will bring prices down. It is that simple, okay? Democratic states attorneys sue to restore COVID-related programs for K-9 through 12. Are you kidding me? I'm so sick of these guys who hid behind COVID, stole a fortune behind COVID, and yet here we are once again still talking about COVID. More importantly, Doug Burgum touts the coal energy because again, we're going to go back into using coal. And again, I am not a climate change believer, but we'll get more into that in our commentary. But until the government quits stealing our money for green energy that they have done nothing with. Remember, if they had done something, I have nothing to say. They have done nothing with but make a lot of laws and regulations, but have not done one thing for the infrastructure, have not done one thing for the people that would want to drive cross country in an electric car. They have done zero. Okay. So why not have cheaper energy until they figure it out? Again, I don't believe in climate change. If you do, I got no problem. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I'm not going to argue with you. I don't think it's fact. I think there are some signs. But of course, if you go back into the Vostok Index, you can see that the world and Earth works in cycles of about 45,000 years. Okay. So we've been through this before, but either way, there are better ways to do things. But while we're waiting, should we continue to be tortured as Americans? Okay. Should we continue to have to pay for programs that aren't anywhere close to being ready, that our money has not even gone to? That's the bigger question. And this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, April the 13th. We're going to step out here for a break. We'll come back with our market report right after the break here on Bubba's Bottom Line. What's up, kids? Well, again, wild week on Wall Street, but of course, you know we have sponsors for this show, and I just want to remind you who they are. And they're all either showing the bottom or on the sides. And of course, it's TRADIER Brokerage for your equity options needs. $10 a month flat saves me over $100,000 a year. I mean, how could you not consider it? Again, I don't care what you do or what don't do. I have other brokers, But if I'm trading volume, I'm trading it through Tradier and paying $10 a month. Okay. All our automation goes through Tradier, so you get the benefit of that as well. In the meantime, you can check them out. And of course, Capital Trading Group, who's partners with us in a lot of programs. Those are for futures and equities. And I certainly recommend that if you trade both futures and you trade both equities, that you have separate brokers for both, because a futures broker is good with futures, an equity broker is good with equities. They have trouble mixing the two. In the meantime, we also have ITM Trading, which is our gold and silver provider. That's my friend Danielle Cambone, and of course, I've been buying physical gold from them for years. But you can check them out as well, and of course, SpookyExpress.com for those who like to wager a little bit offshore. Our brand new sponsor, Joy of Mom, which is a system and a setup designed for moms to help moms. It is unbelievable. It is a friend of mine that has been doing this for almost 40 years. But check it out. You can even see the book that is written on it, but a great sponsor, Joy of Mom. And of course, our high school program, which kind of ties into Joy of Mom as well, because we're trying to help educate, financially literate, and everything else. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, April the 13th. It is Master Sunday. And my guys are fighting. Louis Aberg, Rory McIlroy. Okay. But in the meantime, markets. Well, we kept telling you that the rip your face off rally was coming. We told you. And again, this is not an I told you so. And all of a sudden, after trying to rally Monday, getting clobbered on Tuesday, out of nowhere, from deep in the depths on Wednesday morning, the market's getting hammered. All of a sudden, the buyers showed up, and suddenly the NASDAQ was up 12% for the day. The S&P was up 10% for the day. And those are exactly numbers that I told you could happen. Okay. Now, again, I'm not saying you should have been long, but you shouldn't have been short. Okay. It was obvious that was going to come. It was as clear as a bell that rally was coming. Okay. Markets got too oversold, too much bad news. And as eventually the shorts go, uh-oh, and you got the squeeze of a lifetime. Okay, so we benefited. We had a good week. But again, I think overall we go lower. But there's still probably another big rip coming. Okay. You're so far below the 200-day moving average in many indexes, which again, the old market theory, bulls live above, bears live below. And I think we're still in for, which I've said for a number of years now, or maybe 2 years, whatever it is, but a while, that we're in for a 40 to 60% haircut, maybe 50 to 70. So either way, I think that we go lower. I'm looking for a big rally to get out of our longs. I think it's coming, but again, that's the story. In the meantime, we are still long the four major indices. The dollar has gotten absolutely whacked. We don't trade the dollar anymore, but we would certainly be long the dollar here. It is under $1. It is under par. The euro currency continues to go higher. Doesn't make sense, but we are short the euro currency. Bonds and notes had an interesting week as they were spiking higher, which was tanking interest rates down. And suddenly, out of nowhere, the bonds and the notes got clobbered. Interest rates went flying. The 10-year note closed the week at 4.5%. I believe. Hold on, I'm going to confirm that before somebody says I gave bad information. Let me just confirm. 1 second here. The 10-year closed at, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It closed at 4.493. Okay, so close to 4.5%. We're still short bonds and notes, and I expect to be short for a while longer. Interest rates are going higher. Bitcoin is back around that 85,000 as it got clobbered early, but we continue to track back and forth over 85,000. We're still long. Gold continues to explode. It's beyond me. I would say this. Look, I'm a big believer in gold. I'm a big fan of owning it, but from a trading standpoint, I'm going to get short the shit out of it. Okay. This has been a rally that like none other. Okay. That if you remember the rally in silver in 09, okay, and what happened, it went from 50 to 5 or 50 to 10. I would not be surprised to see the same thing happen in gold. Not that dramatic, but again, I would not be surprised to see a 10% sell-off in gold. We are still short. Silver, we're long, had a big up week finally. Platinum, we don't trade, but we would be long. Copper, we are long. It tanked, it worked out perfect. We bought down at the lows. It is now really back quite a bit. Grain markets were long. Corn grains had a big day on Friday, but look really good. And I think we're going to start to see moving higher, but we are just long corn at the moment. In the cattle markets, cattle continues to work its way a little bit lower. Hogs continue to work their way a little bit higher. Now, we don't trade them, but I'm short cattle and I'm long hogs. And of course, natural gas, we are now long after it came down from the fours. Everybody kept saying, how can you be short natural gas? How can you be short natural gas? Well, guess what? It worked out just fine. Okay. Remember, we're trading market extremes. Okay. If they're overbought, we're going to sell them. If they're oversold, we're going to buy them. I don't give a fuck what the news is. The news is all bullshit anyways. Okay. The news is already priced into the market. So if you're going to trade, learn to understand to read the market, not read what the news is, because the news is idiots. Okay. In the meantime, crude oil is higher. We have no position in crude. And again, at the end of the day, I expect to see one more big sharp rally. May not come this week. We'll see how it trades out. Remember, this is a short week. It is Easter week. So Good Friday, no markets. It's closed. But volatility is really, really high. Just be very careful if you're trading options. I mean, options that we normally would pay at the money for a week, $4 or $5, are $12, $13, $14, and they've only got 4 days to go. So just remember, keep that in mind. In the meantime, this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Top Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, April the 13th. We're going to step out here for our final break and be back with our commentary. Well, kids, not going to go through all the speech. I'll just give you the sponsors: TRADIER Brokerage, Capital Trading Group, ITM Trading, SpookyExpress.com, Joy of Mom, and of course our high school program. And they're all on the bottoms from the side. You can get their websites. Check them out. Look, again, whether you're doing it or not doesn't matter to me. I'm giving you things that I believe are best for you. So let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me and my market commentary. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April the 13th. And of course, I've always got something to say, as you know, and I get more, always a lot, but I'm really on this energy kick right now. You know, I'm so sick and tired of all you fucking greenies out there with your bullshit, especially Al Gore's flying around the country in his private jet, okay, talking about green energy, okay, all the bullshit, driving your big fancy cars that aren't electric. But at the end of the day, if you really want green energy, then let's get a government that's really going to put together green energy policies that work. But wind doesn't work. Solar works partially, okay? But we don't have the infrastructure to put it in anyways. So if we had it, we couldn't deal with it anyways. Now, my question is why are we not using nuclear power? Are we still worried about Silkwood, or are we still worried about 3 Mile Island? Or are we still worried about that? Nuclear power is the safest, most efficient green energy that you can possibly get. So, and it could be put in almost instantaneously, okay? But of course, we've already had the solution to green energy through natural gas, okay? We didn't want to use that. We didn't want to put the stations up. We didn't want to do. So what does that tell you about your government? I don't care who you are, right or left, it doesn't matter. What does that tell you about your government overall, okay? If they didn't want to go to nuclear, okay, they didn't want to go to natural gas, it means that they're not taking enough money and they're not making enough for themselves by using those things. Nuclear energy is the answer. If you're a climate change believer, and I have no problem to go to nuclear, hey, let's go. I'm good with it, okay? Listen, I have solar, okay? Not that I believe in green. I believe that it saves me money, okay? But either way, if you believe in green, nuclear is the answer. There is no other answer. Nuclear is ready to go. It's ready to happen. And listen, we've always seen, you know, nobody stopped when the oil tankers sunk and said, well, we can't use oil, okay? So why don't we go to nuclear? Enough of the bullshit. Let's get our asshole politicians to put nuclear power in. And then we won't have to have this argument every week. And I'm going to have to tell you, I don't believe in climate change, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice and make the, make the, whatever the word I'm looking for, okay? I'm willing to meet you halfway and say, okay, let's put in nuclear power. And this is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, April 13th, and it's been a hell of a Masters. If you're watching, we have Ludwig Oberg, Rory McIlroy, and Justin Rose. So in the meantime, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow with Bubba's Daily Update. But of course, next Sunday, Easter Sunday, with Bubba's Bottom Line. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.